Welcome back, students. So today, our first topic is indices. So what we're going to do is, I hope you guys have finished your reading. So if you click on this should take you a math space page where you are supposed to finish up the reading. And once you do, you should come back and watch this video to understand the concepts, and after that you try a few problems and then you move on to the next concept. So let's get started. So today's first concept is indices. Indices, or we can call it index laws. So there are quite a few of them. Okay, so some of them you already know, some of them are straightforward, and some of them are a bit tricky. So I'm going to explain uh, all of them, and maybe hopefully do a few examples as well along the way. Let me just move this out of the way. Okay. All right. So first rule, product rule. So the product rule goes by, it's not just important that you understand how to do the problem, you also need to know the name of the rule. So the first rule is product rule. So what we are saying is, if the bases are same, so if something is written or raised to the power something else, this is called base, this is called power. So the product rule says, if the bases are same, you can add the powers. For example, if you have 2 to the power 5 multiplied with 2 to the power 7, it's the same as 2, 5 plus 7. Power gets added, so it's 2 to the power 12. So that's product rule, straightforward. Quotient rule, it says if it's divided, so if you have the same base and there is a division sign between them, you can subtract the powers. Similar to multiplication, but multiplication was addition. However, division becomes subtraction. The next rule is zero index rule. So anything to the power 0 should be equal to 1, whatever that is. Let it be x equal x to the power 0 equal 1, anything at all. So anything to the power 0 is equal 1. That's the zero index rule. Power of a power rule. So what does that mean? It means you have something to the power something, whole to the power something. Say this is a bit different to the first rule. This is something, you are raising something to the power and the whole thing gets raised to some other power. And it says simply power gets multiplied. They will give you the same thing. So this is power of a power rule. And the other important one you'll always come across is the negative index rule. So 1 over a to the power m is the same as a to the power minus m. So in other words, if you say, okay, 1 over square root of 2, this can be also written as 1 over 2 to the power half, same as 2 to the power minus half. So that's your negative index rule. That brings us to the most important of all, the most students get it wrong, which is the fractional index rule. A to the power m over n is the same as square root of a to the power m, n goes there. Now, I have seen most students make a mistake about where should be m and where should be n. So the best way to remember this rule is to go back and think of square root of 2. What would you do? You would do 2 to the power half. What does that mean? 1 is here and 2 is there. So in other words, this is your m over n. So if you ever forget, always come back and look at square root of 2 and see where m and n are, and then you can do it accordingly. Now that comes to our last rule for index rules, which is the fractional base. So fractional base. What is that rule? This one says if you divide something and raise them to the power, this is the same thing as you raise them to the power first and then you can divide them. So I'll repeat it again. So you divide something and then raise them to the power is the same thing as you do the powers first and then you divide. This will give you the same result. So this is the fractional base rule. So recapping, there are 7 rules: product rule, quotient rule, zero index rule, power of a power, negative index, fractional index, and fractional base rule. So that's all from index rules. So what you're going to do now is go through some examples, try to do them. There are some worked out examples for you. Go through them, see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, what's the video, and then try to do this problem yourself. If you can do it, good job. If you cannot, reveal the solution and learn how to do it. If still that doesn't make sense, go watch the video, try the problem again, and then once you are pretty comfortable with this, come back up, all the way up. You will see there are questions, so you can click on the questions, and this will take you a list of questions that you can practice them as many as you can, and once you're pretty confident, you can head to the next video. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.